Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Bravo. We're black and a little bit white today because we finally got TJ on the podcast, and we both got on our Sir
For
Wieners
Wiener shirts.
like matching. Yeah, period, period. I felt like I was at the premiere because that PR box was so good. Like
Wasn't
you
it so
guys,
good?
I got the hoodie. I'm like I'm in Florida, so I'll wait till it gets cold or, Bravo Fan Fest or whatever I'm doing. But this
Yes.
crop top is just so soft and so nice and so hot and so cute. I just really felt like I was at the premiere. And then my favorite thing is like you guys had a caricature artist that turned
Yes.
me into a wiener. And it was like us together. And I'm like, this is so cute.
She actually so that lady was at my 1-year anniversary party. It just wasn't like, I don't think it really panned to her during my party, but I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity to make it, like, more personable, and then obviously the cardboard cutouts, the miniature ones of Mia were hilarious.
Important,
Yeah.
especially because it was right at the beginning when we were talking about the whole Mia and Maddie thing, and I was just like, "Not too much on Mia," and, it was just so fun. Overall, like, how are you doing? You just came off your 4th season. You
Yes.
honestly weren't messy TJ this season. You guys got a real reunion, not a clubhouse reunion. I mean, people are loving you. Like the feedback is great, honestly, and also just that viral moment of you and Michaels watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City
Solid.
while doing the do was just. It's just been you just had a good amazing like not turnaround necessarily, but a good season
Yeah.
overall.
I mean, I think I found myself last year just caring too much about a friend's relationship. And even though, like, I don't take any of it back because I do think that shows, like, how much I do care for friends and how maybe I approach some things in the wrong way. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to have to let her figure out, what is right and what is wrong, or what's the right decision or what's not. And it's sad to see that friendship go, but, I really went into this past summer and was full focus on Sir Wieners, for building my friendship with Joe, and just having a good time, and whatever came my way. And I guess, me and Michaels are finally we're at a place this past summer where we could have fun and flirt and, find guys for each other, and some lines were blurred, and, we're, I guess, paying for that now, but, you know, I think all in all, it was a really good summer.
It was a great season for you. I mean, you were there for your friends. You also had the tea as usual, but not in too much of a messy way. We also got a lot of your own storyline between Michaels and obviously that whole thing that happened there, which we'll get into, and then your new boo, and then obviously your business is growing in the best way possible. So it's just so good to see.
Yes,
Okay.
amazing.
Let's get into the reunion. Like,
That
that's just fresh on my brain. It's fresh on your brain. This is going to come out after you guys have viewed the second part of the reunion. Overall, for like a two-part reunion for a show that came from a Watch What Happens Live reunion, you guys carried because I was wondering about multiple things and storylines, and we also saw some people had a lot of resolution, some people didn't, and it seems that the group is not necessarily divided, but I feel like there's going to be so much to explore in season 5, praying that you guys get a season 5. But at the reunion, Michael's, he had a whole Monique Samuels binder, honey, that we really didn't get to see too much of what was in that binder.
yeah,
Um, what I feel like just in the season in general, I left last season thinking that, okay, this is Michaels and TJ. They hooked up. Michaels seemed like you had that amazing conversation between you two last season. I did not expect for you to not just to be hooking up, but to be hooking up as much as you have. And then also the fact that he pretty much says, I have feelings for you when I'm drunk, but also you didn't want to push it too much in case he was embarrassed. W- w- Going into this season, was it why? I don't even know
Yeah,
what the question is.
so
Like,
after
how do y'all get there? That's the question. How did y'all get
after leaving last summer, we had like from what you didn't see from the end of last summer to the start of this summer, we had a very strong friendship. We talked every day. We went on walks all the time. Like, we're there. We're hanging out at work, whatever.
Mhm.
And then, after last summer, I kind of just was like, okay, I'm just gonna take his lead in situations when it comes physical because I don't want to cross the line or give the wrong impression. So this past summer, I was like, if he's taking the lead on certain situations, like making out or making the first move to hook up or fool around, like I would go with it. And um, I guess it kind of got blurred a little bit, unfortunately. But it was confusing because our trip to New York, you guys didn't get to see a lot of it, but we went out to the club and he was finding guys for me and encouraged me to go home with somebody and he was making out with different guys. And then, like, at the end of the night, he got drunk and was, expressing his feelings. And then the next day, he was saying he's blacked out, doesn't remember anything. And as you saw in part one of the reunion, I was just like, look, I took that as we don't want to talk about it. He's
Right.
maybe a little bit embarrassed. We're gonna go forward from here. And I was like, kind of put a wall up when it came to hooking up, and we did hook up in the DR for that reason. I I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and that's why after that night at the club, when he was like, why are you acting weird? Like, why aren't you kissing me?"
Mhm.
I didn't. I started to like. I felt bad, and that's why I had to talk with him in the pool. Like, I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page.
Yeah, and we can tell that the lines got blurred, and also it wasn't just you that were talking to other guys. He apparently had a whole man, which is why him and Molly got into it. Based on the show, is why him and Molly got into it at the beginning of the season, which I thought that was very interesting. Did you know this who this boyfriend of Michael's was? Like, was he around?
Um, Yeah, the boy that she's referring to actually dates one of her friends now. And I think like when Preston and Michaels were like breaking up or on and off, this guy was hanging around Michaels a lot and then
Mhm.
would go back to Molly and tell Molly everything that Michaels was doing or saying to him that he felt was inappropriate. So Molly was taking that back to Michaels' ex Preston.
Mhm.
Um yeah, like, I'm friendly with that guy. I don't really know how much, in depth there
Yeah,
was or if there was actually, like, physical cheating. I think there might have just been some blurred lines of, like, things that were said to each other.
yeah,
I kinda stayed out of that, like, I see where Molly took that personal because that was a friend of hers, so she felt like
that makes
need
sense.
yeah, to tell Preston, but, yeah.
So we talked a lot about how Joe Bradley basically wanted to have his own business, and it just seemed like I'm like, when did Joe Bradley want a business, especially with Leva? Because we've seen you go from having this event to now you're looking for a brick and mortar place, which is huge and like amazing. I just want to know why hot dogs? Where did this idea come from? And how did you get the idea to not just make it, just a hot dog place, but it serve wieners, it's cheeky, it has merch, you guys were at BravoCon, is just nice
Yeah.
overall.
So, like, I've wow. I've always been in the hospitality industry for as long as I can remember, and I've always loved the idea of like a one concept place, like whether that was like burger or sandwiches, and who doesn't love a hot dog? And Sir Wieners was a pet name for my ex's wiener, and it was just like a funny name. And I was actually with him one day, and I was like, you know what? Like, we don't have a hot dog spot in Charleston. Like, I'm gonna open up a hot dog spot, and then the name just kind of like came with it. Um, but yeah, it's kind of people are always like, "What's the origin story behind Sir Wieners?" And I'm like, I'll tell you another time. Not today. I'm not telling you today." Um, but yeah, it's
Tell me
definitely
about the Sundays and how it built
yeah.
up.
Yeah, so, like, over the last year and a half, we've been doing Second Sundays, which is like a huge street festival in Charleston, the second Sunday of every month from 12 to 5. There's, like, 15,000 people that come. It covers maybe, like, 10 blocks, and, my hot dogs have also been at Lamar's, which is one of Lev and Lamar's properties on King Street for the past year, maybe year and a half as well. Um and Lamar's is doing a little bit transitional phase right now, and now they're starting to carry our other restaurant's menu, which is connected by like a secret door, Bourbon and Bubbles. So the hot dogs have kind of like faded out of there a little bit, but I am in talks with Lamar currently of opening up a space together somewhere around the King Street area, which is super exciting. Um, I made it very clear that like I'm not asking for your money or I'm not asking for you to basically baby me and do this for me. Like I want to put forth money, I want to put forth the effort. Like I'm gonna be there. Like I've always had to work for something and I enjoy it and I've never got anything just like handed to me. And I've gotten to the point where like everything in life. I'm like, I don't want you to hand it to me. Like, I'd rather work for it, manual labor or something. Like, I need to feel like I've earned this or I deserve it in a way.
Yeah, it's good to see you grow, especially, I mean, having a show to advertise it on is amazing, but you are actually, like, out there in the community at the second, Sundays. So, regardless of if it's on the show or not, you've put in the groundwork for your brand to
Yeah.
be expanding.
I mean, it's really taken off in Charleston. I just did my first music festival here in Charleston called High Tide. I was there all weekend. It was great publicity for the business, great connections with people that live here in Charleston, but also people come and travel here for that festival. Um, it is crazy how much Sir Wieners has grown without the show and off seasons of the show. And that's so reassuring, like as a business owner, I don't ever never want to rely on the show to do anything for me. If anything, like it's just cool to, like, capture the story of the growth of something that I can look back on. Um, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I'm from Richmond, Virginia, which is, like, 6 hours north. I moved to Charleston, like, 8 years ago. It's a little bit south from DC, but, I was just at home a couple months ago, and I kept in touch with one of the bar owners that I used to work at, and they own, like, some sort of, like, brewery, like, beer place in this like really popular um like district growing in Richmond right now. And I'm gonna do a pop-up in their business, like food hall style. So like you'll like
Ooh.
they're their business, but you walk up to like a window and it's like decked out with Sir Wieners, like branding everything. And I'm hoping to be opening that in the next 2 months. So I'll be very busy in the off season of the show. Um, I don't I'm trying to get it all done before we start filming again, but again, I don't know when that is, but I've been doing homework all day today trying to figure out a designer for the space and logistics and numbers, so it's been exciting.
That is exciting, and
Yeah.
another thing that's exciting, you got a man, according to the show, and is this Joe Bradley's friend who recently
Yeah,
came
so
out?
so
Is
that
are y'all still together or
that's Matt. Crazy that time or when was that? 9 months ago when we filmed the finale, and Matt had just come out of the closet maybe like 5 or 6 months before.
Mm.
Um, that was always a little hesitation in the back of my head. I want the person to be seasoned a little bit, experience the world as an openly gay man. We had a blast at the finale. Like we hit it off immediately. We've stayed in touch since then. Like every time I'm in New York, I go and we hang out. But I think both of us, after watching it back, we've been in communication a lot more. I feel like we've like realized like how much of a connection we had or like shared something. So like when I was in New York this past week, we did hang out and go out together and we grabbed dinner one night. Um, and I think we're both, he's now almost a year and a half in of being completely out of the closet and he's experienced some guys, he's had some fun, and that's I think what he needed to do. So,
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit about like, taking a little bit more seriously and seeing where things go. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna come here next month or at the end of this month, and then I'm in New York frequently, so we're kind of just playing it by ear and seeing what happens.
I love that because that is definitely delicate when someone first comes out of the closet, like, and on top of that, we again, you opened up about this on the show, like, you are in Charleston, so it's not
Yeah,
a lot of options and maybe not as open as somewhere like a New York or an LA. So, him, having that experience and then you also finding out where you and Michael's stand is important. Like, how are you and Michael's right now in this moment? Like, are you friends? Is it murky?
It's kinda murky, like, I mean, obviously, the reunion, I wanna say, like, it was hard to go through part 1 of the reunion or rewatch that back. I care about Michaels as a friend, I love our friendship. I never said those things that he said that I said whenever that some party that I was never at. You know, I think that was the most upsetting, and I wish Michael's as a friend. I feel like he goes through a lot of things with people, and instead of like addressing it right away with them, he like holds on to it and then talks about it with others. And I feel like he kind of did that with Lake. He's done that with me. He's done that with Emmy. And I just wish that he would, if he thought that was something that I said, he had plenty of time to come talk to me about it and not wait to the reunion to talk about it. And if we were as close of friends as he says we are, then I feel like that's something that he would have done.
Yeah, that does make sense, but I don't know, I feel like since you guys have figured out that it's not necessarily like a love match or a romance match, I do wanna see you guys be able to get along even if it's just on
100%.
a friend
Yeah, and I've reached
level.
out to him post reunion. I sent him a text the other day. I was like, "Hey, I'm in Italy, but when I get back, I would love to go on a walk, eat coffee, talk some things out." And he was like, "I really appreciate you reaching out. Your trip looked amazing, or looks amazing. I'm still not ready to talk right now. I'm digesting everything that's been going on." Um, which I understand, and I got to take what it is. It's just I'm trying to be understanding and sensitive of the situation. Um,
Yeah,
and I just gotta let him do what he's gotta do, you
yeah,
know?
on his own time, and
Yeah.
you're also busy. So, I mean, as
Yeah.
long as you put it out there, that's good that you are allowing people like the space to come to you when they're ready, whether it is Matt or whether it is Michael. So that's a
Yeah.
good thing to have
And
learned
I
and a good space to be in.
yeah, and I feel like that's just, like, growth and, like,
Mhm.
experiencing things and going through it before in the past, you kinda live and you learn.
Why is it that it's always you, Mia, and Molly and Brad that are always in trouble? Like, what do y'all be doing? Like, in general, it just seems like y'all are being painted or at least seem like the shit stirrers of the cast, whether it's the group chat or whether it is
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that mother effing group chat has been talked about for 3 years. I'm like, how many you can't give one example and drag it on out for 3 summers. You gotta pick something else. Because can you name another situation? Because I'm pretty sure that's the only one that you're referring to where it comes to, that situation. Now, let me be very clear. I am just as guilty as Will and Emmy. I did not have any part of whatever Brad, took differently or was involved differently with Sammy in that conversation. I was just as guilty as Will and Emmy. I just didn't say anything. And I didn't wait till the night before the reunion to say something.
yeah, that this whole situation is is insane when you think about it. Like, the what I am seeing with Maddie and Joe is actually what I do believe that she told Molly. Like, I I see them together and I think that they do love each other, and I think that Maddie is like I have someone who is stable, and Joe Bradley seems to be, at least from the outside, the one who was there for her when she was sick. He was by her side on the
Yeah.
road. He's trying to kind of like grow up and have his own thing, and he has on air and all that stuff, but it was just off-putting. This whole Trevor
Yeah.
situation's off-putting because it's been since season, what, 1, 2, that
Yeah.
this breakup has happened, and it's just shocking that it's still being brought up.
Yeah, and, like, going back to that and when Justin and Maddie were going at it, and, I think Justin was making a good point. It does seem like sometimes, me and Brad don't talk to Joe at all really anymore, and neither does Mia, and I can't speak for Molly, but I'm pretty sure the same, and even with Justin, but, like, I do feel like she doesn't have control over Joe. I think that's a strong word, but I do think that she can encourage some of his behavior or his decisions in a relationship. They have a partnership, they have a relationship. They've been together for almost 3 years now at this point, probably. And again, I don't think she has control, but Joe has drastically changed who he is in the last year when it comes to going out, when it comes to drinking, when it comes to priorities. And I'm not saying that's all her controlling him, but she has had influence in his life. And I do think, and Joe has said this, like they didn't show it, but there was a part when we went back for a break during the reunion, and me and Joe were pissing right next to each other at the urinal, and he's like, you know what? 60% of our fights are about you guys. So, but like he doesn't say that out loud at the reunion stage or to her face. But like that point given, like she does have some sort of like, not necessarily control, but like he doesn't want to piss her off. So he doesn't hang out with us. And, I'm working on my friendship with Maddie. I do miss our friendship. And I know that in order for me to like get close with Joe again, like I need to like not only be good with Joe, I have to work with, to get there with
That's
Maddie
his
too.
partner, yeah.
Yeah, so, again, I that's kinda what going back to what you were saying, like, I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, you already answered the question. Okay, so I just had Bradley on. I commended him for how he, like, handled this season because as a person of color who is navigating being in the creator space, specifically as a Black woman, seeing a Black man go through what he went through this season, like, truly it was frustrating, it broke my heart, and it was just a lot, and I am glad that the cast for the most part, like, you guys really stuck up for him, which is important because it's one thing if the person who's being accused of whatever is saying it, but no, like, he had his friends on his side just so everyone knows, unfortunately, that's how it has to be, especially for people of color, men or women in general. Like, this is what you said, this is what we heard with the whole Emmy situation, but it was revealed that, Emmy did a lot more that night at the hotel, that Brad didn't even know about in those text messages that Michaels had, and it's it's so wild to think about. So what from your perspective, why do you think that Emmy blew up this situation, to the point where it seems like it's the point of no return, really, because Brad was willing to, he said it on stage. He was willing to like give it up at the trip. Like, you know what? Piece it up. He said sorry. She said sorry. It is what it is. But she went around to multiple people, especially to Lucia, where she's like, "Oh, finally, I had a person of color agree with me," and it was a completely different story that she told him. What is just like her deal in general?
Well, Emmy's never been a listener. Even when let's go back 2 years when me and Will were very good and Will and Brad were good and we were, all 4 of us hung out all together. One of Will's biggest issues with Emmy is she never fucking listens. You could talk to her about something and she's like literally in left or right field, like in her own little world, and then interrupts the conversation with something that she's thinking about or whatever. I know that was a big thing in the relationship for him. Um, I don't want to use her excuse as not listening as an excuse of her behavior. I just think she found herself like, I feel like she felt like she really messed up. And instead of like correcting it, tried to double down by telling her story over and over again to different people, hoping that they would give her the answer that she wanted. That's basically told her that she was right,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's literally like what we saw. Brad did tell me though, because there it got brought up, even though she said she will not be saying his name. Unfortunately, babe, you're on the show. He was also on the show. You don't get to hide hide that. It was brought up that he Will is still out and about in Charleston.
Yeah.
What do we know about that? Because Brad told me it's been as recent as a few weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
He was tore up.
I was out of town in Italy and like
Mm.
and, the group chat, was like, "Oh my god, and actually another friend group chat was like, "Oh my god, Will's out at this bar," and then my Bradley group chat with everyone else was like, I'm at the same bar and I just saw Will. He's like basically just like slouched over in a VIP booth, drunk, hammered, cross-eyed drunk. And then Molly happened to go to a party after the bar, and Will got kicked out and was sitting on the curb, like houched over with his friend that lives here, and was like trying to help him up, calling him a cab. And I'm like, he must hate his life. Like I just like feel like if I was under all this scrutiny of all these situations that involve alcohol, I would probably not go out in the small town of Charleston, South Carolina and get
Yeah.
fucking hammered and be, all over the place at the bar, on the floor, slouched out in the booth, on the curb of a party. We got kicked out of an after party. Like, I'm like, where's Emmy? I know she's looking for your ass.
It has to be, and you're about to be a lawyer, which is wild to me. But that is not lawyer behavior, child. But
I
yeah,
think that
Brad,
just goes back to me telling that story at the reunion, which got a little bit cut off. But he ended up
yes.
walking that girl home and was smoking cigarettes with her on her front porch. And when she was ready to go inside, he was like, "No, I want to come." That was the other part of the story that wasn't shown. But like, I don't think that he cheated that night, but I do think that that is his behavior when he's drunk. I don't think that he is a good drunk. And there's some people that shouldn't drink if you want to have a great relationship with your partner. Period.
Yeah. Or any growth at all, or be taken seriously as a lawyer, because hold on. Um,
Yeah.
let w is there anything that they cut out of the reunion that you really wanted to be shown, other than obviously she spoke over you and she decided that this person is not on this show, so she didn't wanna talk about that? It doesn't have to be
The
about
first part
Will,
of that
just in
conversation.
general.
Yeah, I mean, that first part of the conversation about the Nick Vile podcast, like,
Yeah.
um, I don't care if you didn't know that was coming up. I don't care that, she blamed it on Will, that like he was the one carrying the conversation. You sat there and you let a false narrative get painted about me that you know is not true. Um, I don't, what happened that night doesn't need to be talked about with Joe and I. That's not fucking important. The important part is that you knew the truth and you chose to push a false narrative. And that's not a friend. You had every opportunity to squash stuff last summer at the reunion, and your fucking fiance sat in the back room and watched you. And we could have ended it there and moved on. But no, you guys went on a podcast and talked fucking horribly about Bradley Carter and then, spread a false narrative about me when that was unnecessary. Like you caused that. You can't do all these things, say all these things, and then play victim in it. You can't do that. That's not a thing. That's not how life works.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I
was
was really
it
more.
was a go ahead.
I was a little bit harsher on that, and I mean the point got across, but I was a little bit fired up.
We didn't see a lot of that because that is important, like, obviously, you're a gay man in the South, and it doesn't matter if it was, like, directly said, it was, like, hinted towards, you know
Yeah,
what
and
I mean? And
Even Joe said in that moment at the reunion, he was like, "That's not what happened that night," and that's what honestly what I also needed to hear from Joe, and I'm glad he said that. Um, I don't think that was in there, but that was good for our friendship and the growth of moving forward.
yeah.
Um, and he has said that before last year, and people just glazed over that and then went with another narrative. So
Yeah, I mean, but at least you brought it up. It's not just Bradley that she's getting into it with. It's just so many people on the cast, but that is also something dangerous for you as a queer man, like in the South. So,
yeah,
Brad told me that not many people on the cast like talk to her. Are you friends with her?
no, I haven't spoken to her since BravoCon when she was getting booed, and I texted her. And I think we talked about that. Yeah, at BravoCon, she got booed. Brad stopped her in the hallway to make sure that she was okay, and I texted her. I said, "Hey, just checking in on you," and she hearted it. But that was like the last interaction that I've had.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I saw her in a group setting at a bar with other people, she would say hi if we had mutual friends. But
yeah.
like I was just getting a pedicure and manicure the other day, and her mom was sitting 2 chairs down for me. Um,
That's so Charleston is so small.
I know.
Um
I'm like, get me out of here.
Well, it's been such a joy to finally have you on. Like, I wanted to have you on for like since last season, and I feel like it came at a perfect time because we just watched, the 2nd episode of the reunion, and you guys are doing so much. I'm so proud of you because you are making your dreams, like, come true, which is, like it started off as just like a ho I remember that first, like, hot dog event you put on camera, and
Yeah.
now you're looking at, like, brick and mortar places. That is literally so amazing. So, hopefully, when you guys get a season 5 is what I wanna put that out there. I think you guys absolutely should. What are your hopes for season 5?
Um, I hope for a little less divide. I hope that, I'm working on my friendship with Joe and Maddie still, and I think Brad and Lake and Michaels have some things to work through. I think Mia and Lake do too. Molly and Michaels. I feel like there's a lot of loose ends and a lot of individual relationships that we all need to work on away from a group setting, which I think is possible. Still waiting for Joe and Maddie to show up to the second Sunday, but they did.
Oh, they
They
haven't came
uh,
out yet? Oh
they
my
did they
god,
did they did come say hi at High Tide for a second.
that's good.
Yeah, Mia was working with me, and so was Brad and Julia. Um, but yeah, I'm here for growth. I'm not opposed, for change and to mend things and fix things. So
For sure,
I
and
think
it's
that's
it's
like the way to go, right?
yeah, and also we also have to have a show, so not everything needs to be all roses and sunshines, and I can't wait until Bravo Fan Fest because I have to imagine
Same.
that there's
I
going
want
to
to do a Sir
be
Wieners. Yeah,
I was about to say, like, put them wieners on fire them up on the grill, okay? I don't know if
yeah,
you and Brad might do, like, a combination thing or you do
yeah.
it by yourself. Whatever it is, I am so excited to see all of you guys in Charleston at Bravo Fan Fest, and, is there any other way we can support you other than going to your website and buying merch, which I will put below? Is there anything that we can do other than that?
Um, just come to Charleston. Come hang out. Come stop by Republic. Come get a hot dog at Second Sunday, and hopefully in the near future you can come get a hot dog at a brick and mortar. Fingers crossed for like finding a place this fall, and starting the process, and hopefully like open it up at the end of the year. So
Amazing. Well,
yeah,
thank you for chatting with me. It's so good to see you again because I saw you at BravoCon, but having you on
yes,
the actual show is way better and getting to know you better and knowing what's going on at the reunion and what we missed is just filling in the blanks with you guys. It's been so good. Well, thank you so much and I will talk to you soon and thank you guys for listening. Bye.
thank you.